All right, you guys. So what we're going to need for our pot holders, these are the supplies. You are going to need a backing fabric. You're going to need some Inso-Bright. You're going to use some beautiful scraps of your choosing, how you want yours to be. I have a rotary cutter and I have a ruler, so when I'm cutting my scraps there. And I have this roller. This is by Holt. And that's so when after I sew, I'm going to press with the roller. And so I'll link everything down below in the video. And so let's just jump right into this. All right, you guys. So what is before you is my extra scraps that I've had and the Inso-Bright. So I wanted to just talk a little bit about this. Usually, as you can see, I have this in a certain kind of order. I like to audition my fabrics before I do anything so I can make sure that they are working for me and I like it. So I decided that I will use this front piece right here, this lighter color, and then I like the way this looked with this, and then I like the way this looked with this one here, and then so on the other side. So I kind of did it like this. And if you do have a problem and you struggle with this kind of stuff, if you just use lights and darks, or mediums, or mediums and lights, or mediums or darks, you will be fine. But the goal is to do it in your way, in your colors, and what you like. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these up, and then I'm going to come back because they're going to be 2.5 and 1.5. I'm going to show you guys something how this is going to be. So you see this right here, this is how our pot holder is going to be. I'm going to actually pick this color right here to be my long piece here, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that up, and I'll be right back. All right, you guys, you can totally see that this is all different because some of the fabrics that I had, they did not they weren't long enough for the square. So the square is a 10 by 10 square. I'm going to take all the fabrics off, and I made them long and I auditioned them and everything. So these pieces, the pieces that you start with, they have to be long enough to overlap. That's the whole thing. So this is a 10 by 10 square, and we want it to overlap because what we're going to end up doing is turning it around and cutting it, the extra fabric off. Okay, so you want it to overlap, and so the pieces I had did not overlap. And so the first 3 pieces that you have, they're going to need to be longer. So I cut all of my pieces 2.5. You can cut them 1.5 if you want yours little or big, but I did want mine a little bigger. Okay, so this one right here, my first one, and then my second one, of course, I made sure that they all overlap, which is great. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to go and I'm going to stitch this down here, okay? And then when I come back, I'll put this one face down. Or you know what? Instead of doing those too many steps, how about do it like this, right sides together, so that there, right sides together, and then I'll go ahead and stitch this down 1/4 inch straight down, and I'll be back to flip it over with you. Okay. All right, you guys, so I'm all back from sewing it. So I just did 1/4 inch straight down. And if I did not say it, guys, on your Inso-Bright, you want the reflected side up, okay? So on the back side is more of a batting kind of substance. It's not so much reflected. If you can't tell, you can totally tell the difference. This one side is more reflected than the other one. And with this Inso-Bright, some comes where there's silver on top, but this one, it has it within the batting. So the reflected side up with your fabric, on the bottom of it. Okay, So now let's just go ahead and flip this out. And there we go, guys. And so I would just take my roller here, or you can go and to your pressing thing, to your, to your ironing board and do it that way. And then I'll just, what I'll do, then I'll just add another one. Now there is other ways you can do quilt as you go as well, which I'm going to do on my channel too. This is just one way, which is the strips. There's another way where there is like a log cabin where you put a square and then you just fold it out, and then the square get bigger. They have that one that, you can do that one as well. But today I decided to do the strips. And so what I'm going to do now, since I've done that, I'll take my next piece, which is right here, and I'll put that right sides together, and then I'll go ahead and sew, and then I'll flip that out. Okay. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add all of my pieces because it's the same way. And then I'll come back and show you guys. I'll be right back. All right, you guys. So I'm all back, sewing them all together. And you can see it looks a hot mess, right? So these are the colors that I've chosen. And it is super easy. And that's my whole goal, is to make every sewing project I do as easy as possible. And so now what we have to do is, once you get your colors on, your fabrics, put them the way you want them. Now we're going to turn them over, and you already know what we're going to do, right? We're just going to trim this off. And so let me get my ruler and let's do that. Yeah, so we're just going to trim this down, all this off. And could you imagine, you can do blocks like this. You can do a whole quilt like this, just to use your scraps up. That would just be so awesome. Let me just go ahead, get that out of our way. And then we're going to turn it. And let's get this out of the way. This is a totally, you got those scraps you don't know what to do with. You can make a whole quilt. You can make bags with these squares. That'll be so nice. And give them as gifts for Christmas. So nice. So awesome sauce there. Okay, our last side. Okay. And look, guys, how pretty, right? How pretty is that? And just think, it will be your colors, your creation, your everything. Or you can totally do this for somebody else, with their colors and all that good stuff. So now what we're going to do, we're going to add the backing to it, right? Because that's what that looks like. And so now we're going to add our backing. So what I'm going to do, you guys, I'm going to actually put right sides together, and I am going to stitch all the way down, and I'm going to leave probably like a 3 to 4 inch opening, because I'm going to flip this. I'm going to turn this. Okay, and so I'm going to leave that opening. So I'm going to sew all the way down until I'm going to back tack here, and just sew all the way around. And I'll be right back to turn it out with you. All right, you guys, I'm all back. So I did the sew. I sewed all the way. Here's my opening right here. Here's my opening. And so now let's turn her. This is like the ta-da of it all, right? Especially if you turn things. So I'm turning it with you guys, and if we see any flaws, that's okay, because the whole thing is to keep this as easy and as simple as we can make it. That is my motto. Gotta have fun doing it. Okay. So let's get those corners out. I hope that you guys do really give it a try, especially my beginner sewers out there. You guys, if you happen to come across this video and you're trying it, good for you. Just dive in. Don't think about it, just have fun. You can't go wrong with sewing. Oh my word, you guys. And then I'm just going to go ahead and, I'll stitch that down right there, closing our hole. Because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go all the way around. And then the way I'm going to quilt this is I'm just going to do a stitch in a ditch. I'm not going to do an all over print or lines or anything like that. I love the way it came out. I'm just going to go ahead and quilt right here in the ditch. And for my beginners out there, if you don't know what that is, that's just stitching where the line where we sewed at. And so I'm just going to stitch right there, and it's going to be so pretty, you guys. I like the way it came out. Oh, I'm so happy with it. Okay, you guys, so thank you for hanging out with me today. And if you guys don't know, I do have a crochet channel, and we do the same thing that we do here, we do over there. So I hope that you guys enjoyed the tutorial. I hope you got some out of it, and please try it. You're gonna love it. All right, you guys, see you on the next video.